Opposites attract. Pip and Emma pulled the wild nor'wester from Titmouth all the way to London. They enjoyed their work and do it well. All the other engines were always impressed by them, except for one. It was a calm afternoon when Pip and Emma glided into the big station. "We made great time today, Emma," called Pip. "We always do," laughed Emma. "Neither of us can't afford to be slow. We're high-speed diesels." As Emma gloated, a goods train arrived at the other platform. Murdoch, one of the Fat Controller's heavy goods engines, quietly brought his trucks to a standstill. Pip, who was growing bored of Emma's rambling, was happy to see another engine. "Hello, Murdoch," she greeted. "Working hard, I see?" Murdoch glanced over. He wasn't in the mood for chit-chat, but begrudgingly spoke up. "Aye," he replied. "Just the usual goods from Borough to here. Nothing special, but it's important work." Emma had finally stopped her gossip and looked at Murdoch's long train. It had lots of dirty old fans and was almost longer than their own train. "You surely can't go fast with that," she scoffed. "How are you expected to go fast with our horrible lot?" "I don't have to go fast," said Murdoch bluntly. "It's called slow goods for a reason, and I like it that way." "Pah! That just sounds dull," Emma laughed. "No wonder you sleep so much. You must fall asleep while taking your trains too. Pip and I could never be like that. We have to stay awake and alert, bustling and active." "Emma," interrupted Pip sternly, "that's quite enough boasting from you. I think poor Murdoch deserves a bit of rest after his long trip. It must be tiring to take that many trucks so often." "Well, I suppose you get used to it," remarked Murdoch thoughtfully. "This is nothing really. It's trains like the midnight goods you have to worry about." "Why do you have to worry about that?" asked Emma. "It's like any other goods train, isn't it?" "No," Murdoch replied. "It's usually much heavier than the trains I take during the day. It's not at all bad, though. The moonlit sky is rather nice to be under." "Ha! We never take trains during the night," said Emma. "We're too focused preparing for the next day ahead of us." "Well, I'm not," retorted Murdoch. "Unlike you busybodies, I get what little sleep I can nab during the day and then stay working into the night." "Goodness, that must be a nuisance, eh?" Pip said sympathetically. "You're quite brave to do that." Murdoch smiled a bit, but it weren't often he received compliments. Pip had respect for the big engine, but Emma remained unconvinced. "That's all just daft," she snorted at Murdoch. "Working at night isn't good for an engine." "But it's needed," Murdoch grunted. "I have to do it, so I like to do it well." Emma said no more. She just frowned crossly. Late that evening, Pip and Emma were getting ready to go to the carriage shed. The stars were starting to come out and the yard was still. Pip was feeling rather sleepy, but Emma was still filled with energy. "Come on, Emma," yawned Pip. "Let's pack it in for the night." As the two diesels began to move off, Rosie puffed up alongside. "Pip and Emma, my wonderful friends, can you do me a teeny tiny little favour, please?" "Of course, Rosie," smiled Emma. "What's up?" "Gordon's meant to be taking a late night limited at 11 o'clock, but he ain't feeling too good. Something about his firebox, I think. You two are the only engines available to take his train. Are you down to do it?" Well, I certainly feel a bit down," began Pip, but Emma was quick to cut her off. "Which stations does the train stop at?" she asked. "Same stops as your express," replied Rosie. "But the schedule gives Gordon a bit of leeway, so you don't have to go as fast as usual." "In that case, we're definitely, down to do it," Emma grinned. Hurry, Pip, the passengers are counting on us. Pip groaned as they made their way through platform 1. Emma was at the back, and Pip was at the front. The passengers clambered aboard, the guard blew his whistle, and they were off. A while later, Murdoch was trundling along the main line with the midnight goods. All the trucks were behaving, a soft wind blew, and the sound of crickets filled the air. It was well and truly the perfect night. Ah, peace and quiet, murmured Murdoch happily. Just what an engine truly needs. Much nicer out here than it is up at the rowdy big station. If only we didn't have to stop at the loop at the workstation. The workshops are always loud at this time of night. Never mind, he reassured himself. At least I'll get a break, then I could catch my breath. Emma, on the other hand, wasn't fussed about catching her breath at all. In her mind, they had too much breath to spare. Faster, Pip, faster, she shouted. We've got places to be, you know. If we don't hurry up, we'll be delayed. Pip was still feeling drowsy. Yes, Emma, she sighed. Of course, Emma. The train began to pick up speed, and the calm night was cut short by the loud roaring of the express rushing down the line. Murdoch had nearly reached the workstation when it happened. As he began crossing over to the loop, he heard a distant horn. Blimey, he thought, was that another train? I thought the next passenger service wasn't due for another 10. The goods train was cut off by a shout. This is better, laughed Emma. High-speed diesels pulling the high-speed train. This is the life, this is the life. Pip, however, wasn't nearly as excited. In fact, she swore she could see the faint light of a tail lamp on their line. Stop, Emma, she cried. There's another train ahead. Both engines braked hard as they could. Murdoch jumped at the racket. Who's making all that noise? He grumbled. He was quick to find out. His brake van clattered over the points, and mere seconds later, Pip and Emma screeched past. Murdoch was horrified. The express ground to a halt at the station. The loud screeching was over. The quiet sounds of the night slowly returned. Unfortunately, they were drowned out by the angry complaints of the passengers. My suitcase fell off the rack, shouted one. I spilt tea all over me shirt, cried another. I'm also angry, said another. The guard and station master did their best to usher them back into the train. As Pip and Emma were examined for any damages, Murdoch was allowed through with the goods. He glared at Emma as he went past. Emma felt very silly indeed. Next morning, Murdoch was resting in a siding. He was dozing soundly until the purr of a diesel began approaching him. Emma, with Pip on the other end, stopped next to Murdoch. Hi, Murdoch, said Emma awkwardly. Murdoch stirred slightly and looked at the diesel. Morning, he replied calmly. Silence fell between the engines until Emma let out a small cough. I'm sorry about what happened last night, she sighed to Murdoch. I was being careless and Pip was pretty tired. We didn't realise how fast we were really going. Murdoch looked down at his buffers for a moment. It's alright, he replied. I guess you two are used to your fast speeds. It's only natural. And you must be used to yours, added Emma. It was rude for me to laugh at you. By the sounds of it, the Fat Controller depends on you very much. The speed you do your work isn't any of my concern. Murdoch looked back up and grinned. Don't worry about it. I could say the same about you and Pip. You both care a lot about your passengers. I respect that. Did you both enjoy running at night? Emma looked behind her and heard a tired yawn from Pip. I don't think we'll be doing it again, she smirked. Both engines laughed. They were glad to have made up their quarrel. Emma and Murdoch have very different jobs and very different ways of doing them, but now they're good friends. Pip still doesn't quite understand how it all happened, but she doesn't mind at all. She's just glad Emma has someone else to gossip to.